What is going on, YouTube people? Dale Cards and Comics here. Another little break from national talk as we play news catch-up for some of the things that we missed while the show was going on and some things that I heard at the show. Obviously, we did the Burbank video this morning. National recap and a pickups video are already recorded. You guys will probably see those over the next couple of days. But tonight, we're doing double video day to address probably the biggest, and I'm going to use air quotes, rumor here, because I have not gotten confirmation from Upper Deck or Fanatics, but this was all over the national show floor. And that is something that we hinted at, myself and others, kind of a while ago. It's been pointing in this direction, and that is, it seems, word on the street is, rumor is, that Marvel will be leaving Upper Deck and heading over to DC. Now, about a month ago, Upper Deck announced, it was while I was at Heroes Con actually, that they were bringing on DC and begin doing DC products. We did this little video right here. And that was one of many moments in regards to, that's interesting. You know, why insert Brian Windhurst meme of, you know, why would they do that? Finger pointing. You know, why would they do that? You know, would Marvel be okay with them producing Marvel and DC trading cards side by side? You know, could Upper Deck keep up with producing a Marvel Masterpieces and a DC Masterpieces and getting all these sets out? So that was a big I'm going to say a red flag on that one. That is something going on here. There have been other little, you know, now that you, especially in hindsight, you look back, the way releases have been getting fired out left and right. Like there's been a release a week, you know, 2 releases, 3 releases a month sometimes. The course of this year, where it seems like they're trying to get these sets out and to market. So that was a little, I know something Justin, aka Spidey Hits, friend of the channel, you know, they've kind of hinted at this, talked about this. He did a big news video from San Diego ComicCon. We'll talk more about that in a second. And they also did a wonderful little live stream right here with himself, Fausto, and Matt Fuller. And one of the things that they were hearing was, and this is kind of like a process of getting a Marvel set together, is they have to, and once again, you know, check them out because they have the specifics on this. But basically the gist is, Marvel has to, or Upper Deck has to reach out to the sketch card artist well in advance to get sketch cards in the pipeline for the sets, because they take time to get them all. So there's a decent amount of lead time on that. Well, the chatter around the sketch card community is, from the artists themselves, we don't have any active orders from Upper Deck for upcoming sets. The pipeline is dry, is basically the gist of the sentiment from that section. So either all of a sudden sketch cards are completely disappearing, or more than likely, Upper Deck doesn't need Marvel sketch cards anymore, because same artists do have work for, you guessed it, DC sketch cards. So all of a sudden, the Marvel sketch cards dry up. DC sketch cards are on order. That's another moment. That's almost another like red flag moment, not a yellow flag moment. So all these things have been kind of leading up to this past weekend, which San Diego Comic-Con was going on and the National was going on. Justin, once again, go watch his video. He did this big news video, was basically hearing from folks that were saying, hey, boys and girls, looks like Upper Deck is losing Marvel. That is the rumor and the word on the street. Simultaneously, I'm at the National in Cleveland, on the other side of the country, talking to completely different people and hearing very, very similar things. So, you know, take that all for what you will. Like I said, nothing has been confirmed. This is strictly in the rumor category. But I don't think at this point anyone's going to be surprised if/when this ends up getting announced. Now, we have no idea on the timing. Is it going to be the end of this year, 2025? I believe DC product starts releasing at the very end of this year, leading into 2025. I would assume somewhere around there is when the Marvel product starts to slow down. We'll see. They still have some sets in the pipeline coming out. Now, from this point on, we are going to assume that this is happening. Let's assume we're going to go into make-believe land. Marvel goes to Fanatics. Upper Deck has DC. What does that mean for the Marvel card collecting community? A few things. One, Upper Deck has the licenses to the brands that we are used to. What does that mean? Just because Fanatics gets Marvel does not mean that they get Marvel Masterpieces, Marvel Metal, PMGs, EX Centuries, Platinum Medallions, Fleer Ultra, all the brands and inserts and stuff that the Marvel community has really come to love and embrace, myself included, because a lot of those sets tie back to sets that I collected as a kid in the 90s, will basically just be DC products only. Topps will have to come up with their own shtick, which you can already predict. Marvel Topps Chrome. That will probably be a big hit. Probably be very much like Marvel Platinum. That's something we'll talk about. We'll just leave it into this now. On the top side, I would expect a lot of releases like Marvel Platinum. Chrome product, numbered cards, lots of parallels. I have a sneaking suspicion that that's the way things will go. The way I understand it, and I think you could kind of look at this on the Star Wars side of things since Fanatics took over and see how things went over there, that's a lot of what they have pivoted to in those products. From what I could tell, and I do not collect modern Star Wars products, I just chase autos. I do not open modern Star Wars wax. But from what I have heard, sketch cards are a lot harder to hit. They are fewer and far between in Star Wars product than what they once used to be. So I don't know if that's a side of things to come on the Marvel card side of things. But shiny chrome product with tons of different swirly balls and disco waves and lava refractors and super fractors and all that stuff is the type of product that you are probably going to see from Topps. Now, I'm sure they'll get innovative and do some other things, but I think at a baseline, that is kind of the stuff you can expect. But no more Marvel Masterpieces. Maybe we get one more. I think there was supposed to be a 2024 Marvel Masterpieces in the works. I don't know if that's happening or not. No more, we have an Avengers Metal set, I believe, coming out in the pipeline from Upper Deck. That could potentially be the last time we see a metal set. A lot of these legacy brands are going to go away that people are used to. And that sucks. Like I said, I really enjoy collecting a lot of that stuff. I am interested to see what a Topps take on these things would look like. But I think the real blow, and this one won't affect me that much because I only really, I flirt with this on occasion. But I am not a serious collector this way, but a ton of people in the Marvel community are. And that is EPAC. EPAC for Marvel is a mainstay in that collecting community. That is how a lot of people interact with Marvel product. Buying it on EPAC, chasing EPAC achievements, doing trades, exporting your stuff to ComC. If you want to sell it and you can't trade it or whatever, that is how a lot of people interact with Marvel card products. It is an easy way to access product if you don't generally have access to it. That is one critique you can make of Upper Deck is that it can be hard to find product in hobby shops. Basically none of my local stores, my LCSs, really carry much in the way of Marvel product. It is few and far between. I have a feeling when Fanatics comes to town, that's going to be a little bit of a different story. A lot of collectors relied on EPAC for access to product. What happens when there is no EPAC? Now, I've speculated for a while that at some point in time, Fanatics would probably love some version, form, whatever of e-Pack for everything, not just Marvel cards. And for those watching the channel that are not experienced in what e-Pack is, basically it is a digital plus physical mix. Mostly, it just depends on the product. So for higher end products, just about everything in the pack will be physical. You're opening a digital pack, you see the cards on the screen, but you can have them shipped home if you want them shipped home. They are real physical cards. In some sets, the base cards will be digital only. So you're only getting the hits physical, but what they do to make up for that is the e-Pack achievements. So if you get 10 base cards of Spider-Gwen, you can unlock an e-Pack achievement card. So essentially, you trade in those 10 digital cards and you get some sort of parallel physical card of that particular character. And there'll be varying degrees of that. They get all sorts crazy. But just to give it to you at a basic level, that's the gist of it. So imagine opening a Topps Chrome hobby box and all your inserts and hits are real cards and your base cards are digital, but they can be combined together. You could take 10 Shohei Ohtani, just base Dodgers card and combine that into some sort of special refractor that's only available that way. And then there are varying tiers of that will make them more rare. But once again, that is how a ton of Marvel collectors interact with the space. And that going away probably will send some waves through the collecting community. I think the fact that we would lose access to these legacy brands and e-Pack will be two seismic shifts to that side of things. And then it'll be, what does Topps decide to do with it? I think you'll see a bigger push for breaking of Marvel product. That's already kind of been on the rise lately as is. Case breaks for characters, that sort of stuff. That gets a little bit scary to me because I'm not a big fan of breaking. I never really have been. I've never bought into a break. To me, it just feels like breaking is a mechanism to drive up prices on boxes because you can microtransact the single box and essentially sell it for more than what it should actually cost, which drives up the price of wax. Especially for Marvel. I prefer to rip a box of Marvel because the base cards have value to me if it's a set that I am trying to put together. So a lot of different stuff to unpack here. We'll have to see how this all shakes out. What gets formally announced, when, what the timelines look like. And once again, supposedly, rumor mill, we'll see what happens here. But I have a sneaking suspicion that it is headed in this direction. It's just a matter of when, not if. So lots to unpack here. Curious for your thoughts and comments, as always, down below. If this ends up happening, I'm excited to see what the future holds just for a new company to take a crack at it. But I'm also going to be very, very sad to see the legacy stuff go away potentially. I am curious to check out. I'm not a huge DC guy, but I would flirt with a DC Masterpieces for the right characters. That would be an interesting set to see. PMGs of certain DC characters would be interesting to me. And then, another interesting angle of this. So Fanatics, they already have Star Wars, Disney product. If they get this, Marvel, Disney product. They already make Disney trading cards in Europe. Topps Chrome Disney came out in Europe, and we've seen the popularity of the Cacawal sets, or however you say it. The ones with the gold signature Donald Ducks that sold for hundreds and hundreds of dollars. As part of the Marvel deal, would potentially they also get rights for Disney as well and bring Disney on board? Do we see a proper US release of Topps Chrome Disney? You have to imagine if they're talking to them about this, there's a decent chance they're going, hey, we already have Star Wars. Let's get Marvel and let's get Disney under us as well. And there is a Topps Chrome Marvel coming out in Europe. I believe later this year or next year. But that is on the docket. I think it's later this year, because the EU license is different than the US license. So that was another, I should have mentioned that earlier as a moment with yellow flags going up. That, boy, this sure is odd, isn't it? That Topps is making Topps Chrome Marvel overseas. So we'll see what happens. Interesting times here, as it looks like Fanatics continues to take over everything if these rumors do end up being true. As always, curious for your thoughts and comments down below. Catch you boys and girls on the next one. Peace.